Now move to open the meeting.
Second.
Okay. Awesome. Okay.
Okay, so
Right.
what are we gonna do? We're gonna walk the
We're
site,
gonna walk-
right?
Yes,
Walk
we're
the
gonna walk
site.
the perimeter and
Look at the trees with
let's,
Tim, the tree
And
guy.
I can take note, like as we go, why don't we all just be noting things that we feel like should get repaired, and I'll just take a
Right,
list
what do
and
we
then
want
we
to
can
do?
discuss it.
Walk
Walk
the
around
perimeter?
perimeter.
Yeah.
We're here so we can
Yeah, let's do
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
That sounds
walk
good.
the perimeter.
Good idea.
okay, and then we can come back to the
Yep,
centre.
yeah, we'll end up the same place. First comment. I noticed
ready.
plenty of goose stew,
Yes.
Yeah.
but I do think there's less.
Someone was picking it up today
She's
because
picking-
there's
No,
a
but I
festival.
mean, I think there's not less goose stew. There's less geese.
Yeah, they've been here on and off, but certainly not consistently.
Less geese. Oh, I haven't seen hundreds. And last year there were hundreds.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fruit over there.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh yeah,
You know.
And
she's still out there
been
picking it up.
clearing it out
Yeah.
2 days.
You come out here every day.
There is a
No, it's just because there's a festival this weekend.
We'll be out here the rest of the week then.
tree.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to be looking at trees. You'll notice that there was one missing there at least.
What's that?
What's what?
What's this tree, do you know?
What is the tree?
It's
It's a big tree.
Very good.
It's a multi.
It looks a lot like an ash,
yes.
which is technically an invasive. Around here, well, it's not invasive to this country. It's invasive, but not native. But it looks like an ash leaf. Awfully big for an ash.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I really don't know what that is.
I don't either.
Oh, here's the expert.
I'm gonna have to go look it up.
Looks like an ash leaf, though, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Compound leaf.
Yeah.
I think the main thing is to get a public hearing on all the trees to have them be pruned.
Yeah.
Okay. Then they can come through, prune out the dead wood, make it a little safer. In the process of doing that, with using the bucket truck, they're going to be able to see which trees have major problems.
Make an assessment.
Yeah, and then that will be the determination on, okay, which ones stay and which ones go.
Does this
As-
have to be done with the public utility in mind as well? Because of the wiring and
Well, I mean, they can work around the wiring with the bucket truck. Ultimately, if you replant new trees, that's something to take into account. You know, if the wires are going to go through where a tree is,
Well, yeah.
why not move the tree
Tree.
back this way
That
more?
was something that Greener had a good point on.
Yeah.
Yeah, to set
And
it
then
back
ultimately, what, you know,
30.
different types of trees, you know, what's the best tree? There isn't the best tree. You know, do you want stuff that's all going to be shade trees? Do you want stuff that is going to be small trees with, call it ornamental value? You know, that's a decision the committee would make.
The committee
As
had
far as-
some conversation about that at the last meeting, and I think there was quite a consensus that they wanted native trees.
Yeah.
And sorry, you're Tim Lamprey. Okay, Amelia. Figure out.
Tim,
Nice to meet
Tim,
you.
not Tim, Tim.
Tim, yeah.
The other thing to keep in mind is the bulk of the trees on this side, I believe, are on state property.
That could be, yeah.
sorry, they're on what?
I'm-
State?
State
I'm
property.
trying to get a hold of Mass Highway to have them come and say, do what you want, or this is what needs to be done. But ultimately, anything along 1A and Route 1, none of those are town trees unless you kind of turn the corner onto one of the town streets. So
Even if they're
that's
set
fine.
back onto our property?
If it's within the right of way.
Well, yeah.
But does anybody have a
No.
plan?
Do you remember at the hearing that Greener had, and I asked him if they had a plot plan with the street layouts on it? They had pavement, but they didn't have the street right-of-way layouts on it, and
Yeah.
they didn't. I don't know if there is one,
That would be the question, because that would make a huge difference in knowing what
where they are.
can be done, what can't be done, and then ultimately, when you think about it, you know, plowing, snow, ice melter, there's a way of offsetting that. And that's probably the important
Well,
thing.
that's a good point.
Yeah, I got that.
You know, if there was,
To have this surveyed and have those lines laid
there might
out.
be some records somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who in the town would know? Like, who'd be the right person to ask about that?
Well, who might know is Ellen. Ellen used to work at the Registry of Deeds many years ago. And I know if I come with a problem on a particular street and say, I don't know where the boundary lines are, just click, 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 and boom.
Okay.
She's
So
got
the
stuff, so-
Ellen and for sure Registry of Deeds would hopefully
yeah.
have it.
No,
No,
Ellen,
Ellen at the
the
town hall.
administrative assistant.
Okay.
She used to work at the Registry of Deeds, so she knows how to access. There was a question on cemetery down off of the Parker River,
Yeah.
and there was a question about, okay, who owns that? Because there's some trees in there. And
Yeah,
it was,
right.
Is it a town problem? She came up with a layout of the cemetery from Lord knows how long ago. That so she knows if there's something that can be found, should
Okay.
be one you could probably find it. But that I think is critical to do. I mean, in some cases here, an application alone would help a lot with grass. Because who knows the last time lime was put down, and these trees are going to, no matter what, make the soil more acidic. That's a cheap fix for getting the grass growing. An application of fertilizer.
Well, actually, the grass isn't in bad shape here. Thank the geese probably for that to some extent, but
Well, when you start to see weeds
Yeah.
coming in, like there's some chickweed in there.
at the
There's
point
some,
they're green. My lawn looks like that. As long as it's green, I'm happy.
but it would make it so that the grass would be thicker, there'd be
Okay.
less issue with it. Same way along the edges, with the salt that gets in there. Horticultural gypsum would
Yeah.
neutralize that.
We talked about that.
And,
We talked about your suggestion for that.
the highway department has a source at Northeast Nurseries for getting just a case of expenditure, depending on how many square feet. Might be able to, everybody wants to do, we might be able to get that done this fall.
Well, that's a point. Yeah.
Tree warden budget.
Okay.
It's clean.
Yep.
While we're here, we have two Christmas trees here.
Yep.
One which is pretty thin. Myself, I think that should go.
The one thing I just have no idea, and I don't know if I feel one way or the other. I don't know if they have sentimental value or not, because that, as you know, like when I was growing up, was the Christmas tree that we always lit up, and now that. So like, I personally don't care.
Pardon?
The lights are in it already.
In that one too?
Oh, they're in that.
They're in that.
They're in this
They're in
one.
that one.
Not in that
They're
one
in this
anymore.
one year round.
But you can't leave them up all year.
Well, the fire department had approached me, maybe it was 2 years ago, about, do I know anybody with a bucket truck? Because they were worried about the fire engine sinking in here. And the bucket truck from the road might be able to reach that, the one the town has, to, relight things. But, ultimately you could pick a variety of tree as, call it the official town Christmas tree, plant it somewhere at a reasonable size and let it grow up to a decorated size, and then maybe pull out the trees that are the marginal ones, so that there's not the shock value. That was I think the biggest thing that was going to be with
Yeah,
the previous proposal.
that kind of detracts from
Yeah,
this.
but that's not even Christmas tree.
Kind of feeble now.
It's a fir, but
Well, believe it or not, an application of lime around that would help, because at some point the acidity gets so low that the plants can't take up nutrients. I've had-
But why do we have two? That's the
Yeah.
thing.
because someone donated it.
Yes, I understand that, but it comes to a point where
Oh, I know, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
from what I understand, and you've been here longer than I have, somebody donated I believe, this one. And I thought
Well,
that one was
that
supposed
was-
to have been taken down.
That
but
was before Tracy, because I tried to donate trees and she wouldn't accept them. So she won't accept them as donations.
But that one still has the lights on because
Yeah, I tried to donate
they just
two
keep the lights on it. You can see the
basswood
wires.
linden trees for the other green, for the lower green.
Yeah.
She wouldn't accept them.
Okay, well, but
Okay.
it's 6:45 now. It's gonna start
Yeah, I
getting
know.
dark, so
I know
we
that's
gotta
right.
start
You're
trooping.
Did
absolutely
anybody
right.
bring their headlight?
I brought a flashlight.
You know, the lamps you put on your head.
Yeah, but
You
no.
can't be out after sunset. Then you get the bugs.
Now we're coming up to the drainage too. I did reach out to John O'Connell this week, and he opined a bit, but then pretty quickly put me in touch with James, the highway guy, and I've reached out to him. I haven't yet heard back from him, but what John had articulated was that for the drainage that comes out of the pond that we mentioned might be an issue. He was like, you know, maybe once in a while that might be causing drainage issues here, but he doesn't think that that's the primary reason for this. But he said you'd have to check with James. But regardless, they're planning to fix that pond thing. Like, that's on their list of things to do anyway. I think James is pushing that regardless. So that's going to get done irrespective of what this committee recommends. But then what
On
John...
the other hand, we have to include it.
Right, it may not have an effect on this, but John's opinion was that both hard packed soil, which we discussed last week, and the grading, like his thinking was that it was both of those things combined that was leading to an issue here. But he said ultimately James would be the one to be in touch with, and James hasn't responded yet, but I'll keep trying.
The thing to keep in mind is that you could have, you know, really nice loam here, and then over there it could be sandy soil, and here where the drainage issue is could be clay.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then that's, you know, well, when the green was built, it might have just been, well, let's just throw whatever we've got for soil in there at some point in time and then just overseed it. So the drainage issue may be nothing more than the consistency quality
A
of the
couple
soil.
of cores are setting some answers to
Yeah,
that.
definitely.
So it seems like on that, I mean, it seems like we definitely should continue to get in touch with James. My guess is that he'll respond this week with an
Well, I know
opinion.
he's doing paving right now.
Okay, so maybe
the
this
issue.
week,
He's
next
got
week.
2 streets he's doing this week.
But I know he had recommended, I forget, Jan maybe or someone mentioned that he had recommended the gypsum, so maybe it would be worth giving that a shot if he continues to think that that's
That
an
was
issue.
Tim
And he does
who recommended the
do.
gypsum.
Oh, Tim recommended.
Applications over a couple of years in any of the spots where it's high packed will do wonders.
Okay. But I do wonder, like regrading, and that could be pretty crazy.
Observe the missing trees,
Yeah.
and I must say, not that many years ago, all of Hanover Street had a row of trees on it.
Yeah. Missing trees.
Most of them came down in the last 2 years because they were really monument heavens on them.
But they weren't replaced. Yeah. That's a maple. What kind of maple is that?
Some of the limbs on this make me nervous. Like this one, I don't know. I mean, it would be good.
But yeah, when you have branches like this, these are inherently
Yeah, I always get nervous walking under this one.
At the end there is.
That's a big tree.
This might have been the one that I had on the list to come down.
Yeah.
Wasn't there one on the list
Yeah,
that
right
there was
overhead is a dead
controversy about? I mean, just needs. Does that take the whole tree down? Or just,
Yeah, because if you stand back and look at it, there's a lot of hollow spots in it.
yeah. The way they throw up to the water gets in the beams and
Now, what's that black stain?
you look at that.
That I don't know.
Oh, that's weird.
That wasn't there the last time I looked at the tree.
Wow, that looks like fire, doesn't it?
It does actually. It looks,
Okay, so you like right here,
yeah,
see the hole?
yeah.
So I would guess if you took a drill and drilled in there, you'd go in a little bit and then boom, it'd be hollow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the shape of it.
And that's a difference. That must be an hour. That's a different kind of tree. I can see the leaf.
Yes. So if the water gets in the green and the branches go down, then
Silver maple. So are most of the trees around the green silver maple?
Not
Just
necessarily.
Not really.
There's some red, there's some silvers. But you talk about the compacted soil, and that's what's going on here. That's why the roots are coming up,
I see.
because they can't get down into the soil. So, if
There's
you
a rock here, I can
Mildew or mold.
feel something, right? Yeah, in a line. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's like, you can feel
In a
the,
bunch of places. It's so weird.
look back at
I don't know, could be dark. It is New England.
Is that island part of the green district?
That is for the
I've
mustard.
always assumed that it
The
is.
fireman's mustard.
all right. Okay.
And they shoot down across here. So supposed to be a mustard soon, I believe. Isn't it? Supposed to be a mustard pretty quick.
21st, 22nd, I think. Yeah.
This place will
Because they
be
missed
hopping.
it last year.
Yeah. Place will be hopping.
Yes.
Well, that's a younger tree, but it doesn't look too great.
No, it's too close to the road. The
Oh, I don't doubt that.
road salts are affecting it.
Think that's suffering from salt to some extent?
Yeah. And that's the issue, you know, if it was back here, it would have a
10
much
feet
better
back.
chance of survival. I mean, you look at the one that had to come down there,
Yeah.
and then this one, how this one's so stunted.
We discussed this last week, but I'll put it back on the list. Grinding the stumps down.
Yeah, we're gonna run into a bunch of those.
I don't know if James has a stump grinder or not.
No, but he has a backhoe. We talked about that last time too. He could dig it out.
That'll come out easy.
Yeah, it is. Just have to call Dig
And I
Safe.
guess the sort of new road here isn't going to inhibit the baseball.
I don't think so.
He could always rent a stump grinder. We got some money.
Right.
All right, let me get dark quick.
Yeah.
So
Want to get back to the pond?
It was we'll go around. It was a dark day, so
There might be some of the landscapers who live in town who might have a stump grinder that they'd be willing to.
looks like that tree got hit by the lawnmower.
Yeah, one of my neighbors had made a comment that a lot of the trees have been hit by mowers or weed
Yeah.
whackers. Like there's a lot of damage.
Oh, the weed whackers are death on a lot of trees. I have white birches on my property, and I have to give right on the country club property, and I have to give the guy something every year because he has these young kids that come, and they don't know that a birch tree is a good tree. You take any kind of weather you want to throw at it as far as cold, but it's very sensitive. Yeah. It'll take cold down to any temperature you want to give it. They don't like instant fire. Oh yeah, the trees all down here. Yeah.
So clearly the backboard needs a repainting.
Yeah, there's just nobody ever finished that. They put in new boards and no paint. That's pretty minor.
Yep.
How's retirement, Tim? Bored yet?
No, it took a while to get used to it, I can tell you that. You know, I was just so used to being up at, up and having to be at the store at 9
Yeah.
o'clock.
And here's where every year they dig out the weeds and clean it all out here, and then the weeds grow right back.
Yeah. It does look, I know people said it's not that big of a deal, and it really isn't, but it doesn't look as nice as it does when it's
Clean.
No, but it's the way it was when I was a kid.
Yeah, we had grass back then?
Yeah, they had grass out
we
there.
have cars and stuff now, Fred.
Hey! Good guy. That's the way it was. They repaired the
Black would be
guardrail.
nice. Huh?
They repaired the guardrail a couple of weeks ago.
That's okay. We just that little black paint. You won't even see the guardrail. Just kind of blend.
Yeah.
Ironically.
Look, into the woods. That's intelligent. Hen of the woods. Hen of the woods. It's a mushroom. That is a delicacy.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Oh, people hunt these.
I don't eat pumpkin.
All in the roots.
Yeah.
I don't eat it.
You'll be first thing in the morning.
Yeah, right. I got some last year.
I've had a fog in my I don't know what it is.
Watermelon does look good. I know it looks good.
Yep.
Only Newbury would be honoring Benedict Arnold.
Benedict Arnold did a lot of good stuff.
He did, I'm teasing.
When he was here, he was a good guy. After you read about him, he only turned because he was done dirt to.
Looks like it's been patched quite a few times, huh? Is this patching?
I think so. Those are lichens.
Probably better.
You like them. Now this must be a silver maple. Look by the rock. Wait a ways, I don't know what the layout is on one of them.
Yeah, that's the whole key is finding out what the right of way is to know if it's again with the compacted soil. They're not necessarily all coming to the surface, but that's part of what the issue is, that the roots can't go down, so they just stay near the surface.
Why couldn't they do that?
Because the soil's so
So
hard that they can't push down
it's-
through it.
It's clay.
Yeah. And you know, you could have 6 inches of halfway decent loam on top, and then underneath it just could all be hard packed soil.
But it's not necessarily a bad thing. Other than
Yeah, well, it makes it easier for the great winter of 2000 whatever to the tree.
to crop. Yes.
Have thought that about that.
Yeah.
Come here when they show up and get rid of them. That's what we need to do.
Well, hunting season's coming up soon.
Yeah, but not here. I don't think they're going to see too much shooting here.
Right now, they're very busy at the airport.
Unfortunately, I think hunting season they come in here more for protection. Just like you'll notice in Joplin Flat. They get in there because they know they can't shoot.
So definitely a pathway.
So clearly the walkway could use a cleanup here.
Nobody mentioned the walkway. Okay. You're headed right for it. Oh, the ball step
Some more mushrooms to identify.
Oh yeah.
on the tree. Oh, oysters, aren't they? Not a good sign.
So what is this, another silver maple?
Yeah, but it's got
little extra pieces, is that?
And most of your maple trees aren't dissected like that. So.
Yeah.
And you know, he made a good point of the ER, this space here between the pond and the road, probably not a tree. One's off, groups are limited. Probably not. I mean, we had trees here, but
Well, we have like a 72 here.
There is an aerator. Yeah, there is.
But I was talking with the pond guy.
Yeah.
I did have quite a conversation with him. He said he didn't think an aerator would make much difference. Pardon me?
Pop those stumps out and put those over the room. Each one.
Like they could
Of
also
course, the sun angle's going down. It helps a lot. That helps
That's a native plant.
a lot. Right here. If you look at it, it's a fine mesh.
Yeah.
Which, in the spring, well, even if the level was up,
Might be
well, all this
beneficial
stuff
if it was
gets
actually
plugged up.
lower.
Pardon me?
If it was lower, so that there was a constant
Well, that's another
slow
thing.
roll of.
That's another thing. But right now, it plugs up, so it doesn't want to drain.
Ooh, that's nasty.
Yep. Nasty right there. Well, the wind was from the south.
Shiny. Shiny and clean.
Wind was from the south. Yeah, there is stones out there. There is stones.
Yeah, I'm sure that will be fixed outside of the funds for the green. I don't know how the drainage works. There's drainage
There's a sump.
over
On the other side.
on the other side. Might be like a few different ones. There's the weird tunnels too. The flagpole needs some painting.
Needs to be, that came up for discussion to check, needs to be checked to see whether it's
Structurally sound.
safe. Well, it does need
New coat of paint, yeah.
That one was collecting.
I jotted down the paint on the flagpole
Well,
and
it isn't just the paint.
checking structural sound.
Yeah, I have to wonder.
Sam looked at it.
Oh, did he?
Listen,
Yeah.
that doesn't sound good. But this sounds great. This sounds rotten.
He said when he looked at it that he can't tell about the structural stability up there because he's.
Right. That's right. Of course
But
you
he
can.
said that it appeared, besides the obvious fact that it needs to be repainted, that it appeared to be structurally fine.
Well,
I'm just,
I don't know
I have
about
the
that.
letter in my bag.
stick a screwdriver and go
Yeah.
straight in.
That's the only spot. That's the only spot is
Yeah.
right there.
That was the plan.
But that rock could be taken out of there. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, something. Is there a garden club in town at all? Sometimes they have them,
Yeah, no.
the
I
garden club ladies
don't-
go
we need
and
to have.
take
We
care of.
there used to be years ago, but
Yeah.
Is it just the landscapers that manage this?
I don't think anyone's managing this. These all brand. These must have been day lilies. These are because they were some kind of a violet and hot stuff.
Be good to
10 to 11. Okay.
Cleaned.
done before all the people come this weekend.
I know, I can't, I'm not big on the copper going to patina thing and stuff. That's just not my zone. But the metal probably isn't a big deal for him. I mean, I've got 87 different metal things on it. Barkeeper's friend who, my favorite stuff in the can. That's like, it's not cloth, but it's kind of, you pull the pieces out. That's the only place I know to get it is that one place.
Black on everything.
Growing new trees at the bottom.
Oh yeah, suckers, yeah. Yeah, well, not all. A lot of trees like to do that. That's actually a
So,
moss.
so it's a slime mold that's on the trees.
But does that do any harm? Not really.
Well, the lichens don't, the moss doesn't. I mean, it's just, the moss a lot of times will grow in issues with vines and the lichens.
Anything down in there?
We're going to go down to the end.
Yeah.
So
You gotta kind of
shall we,
Oh yeah, sorry. We've run them off.
they've,
Yeah,
let's go and look at the
the
end.
multiple tree men
Yeah,
are.
The trees really are in sorry trees.
they are at least
Almost
a
all.
dozen have come
Yeah. It might be nice to phase it so there's always trees, but they really
Yeah.
are sad looking.
Yeah, and
I'll tell you what.
this one's
It just looks
this
boring.
one's going to be dead because the utility wire they're going to want to chop this whole right thing
Yeah.
off, unfortunately.
Yeah. Not looking too healthy. Yeah, because down there you could, like, if you put like a row of nice boxwoods or something, it doesn't take much
Somebody must
care.
have planted this because these are annuals. I think. On the distance.
And is this a weed tree, do you think?
This looks almost like elephant ears.
The elephant was sort of thing, yeah.
Yeah. These look like gigantic impatiens with the leaves and the blooms.
But this has no significance. It's just pretty.
Well, this was the trough.
Bit high up.
Let's put it this way. When it's like, give me 10 to get up on the saddle,
Right.
then yeah.
I'm curious if this tree is just like a weed tree or if it's anything special.
They're also vision blockers when you're coming out here from a
Yeah.
safety perspective.
Yeah.
Actually, you're right. Yes.
Both of these.
And that one there as well. But that's a done block the road. Stop people
Right. It would need something there. This might block more because typically you pull where that car is, and those block less.
Okay.
Where's the rest of the campus?
You not seen those?
Where's the other two?
Well, their cars are over here.
Oh,
I think they went to their
Are they driving?
Good to go.
Awesome. Thanks.
Right, declare the meeting second half of the meeting open. Right, everyone's got the minutes. Are there any questions about the minutes? Okay, are there, as we'll go through and discuss generally the minutes were okay, you said them.
No, I have a question about that. Number one. Just because things are in a certain order and we don't necessarily make them in that order. For instance, if we had equally addresses, we just did. And that's on to the end. Good morning. Let's face it. But I had a couple of comments. Upper Green repairs considered. It says fixing the drainage issue with water pooling in the baseball field, and I said, and pond outlet grid. So I have a big jump. I'd like to see that.
Something in there.
And the same thing on the back page over here. It says pond, pond drain. Outlet grid.
Oh yeah, that's where I had it.
Yeah. Well, this there, that's where it is. And last but not least, I know you're not used to this, need a time.
Oh, okay.
And that's all purpose. And I don't know, I think it was after 8:30, but not much after. We got a free time. 8:30, you got it down,
Right.
good girl.
Okay, I'll add it.
Okay.
So I would suggest those amendments.
Thank you. The amendments duly noted.
You have to vote.
Is there anyone else? Any other comments on the minutes?
We have to vote on amendments.
Amendments. Okay, any other amendments?
Maybe, that might be. As amended. As amended.
Second that vote.
Sure, I'll say.
Vote second.
All those
All of us in favour?
Aye. Sorry, who seconded? Tony, did you second or you started and you seconded?
I say.
I
Okay,
vote
Tony.
accept as amended. We'll get that in. Good thing you're here, Fred, I'll tell you. You
Keep
know
us in line.
The way around the meeting.
Oh, yes.
It's the expert.
I'm not an expert.
Okay.
I have some knowledge.
Right, so moving on, from the discussion points and from our walk around, we now have to go on the to-dos.
Yeah.
So perhaps as a suggestion, maybe I can just
walk through all of the notes that I took as we walked around, and maybe for each one, we can say whether we would keep that on, remove it, or if there's something to add. And ultimately, I would imagine that the goal of this, keeping the public hearing in mind, which will be a next step, I would imagine that for that public hearing, we will either be recommending a set of repairs or at least putting out a set of repairs for discussion. So I guess with that in mind, if people would weigh in on whether everyone agrees with the repair that was noted, whether people think it's too small and not worth worrying about, or if there's things that they would add. Does that sound like a good next step? Do you have a different next step?
Okay, but the big but is, this is already getting near the middle of September, and I really feel that we should be getting something done this fall out there on at least planting some trees. I think it's pretty universal. They had the hearing with Green ER, and that issue was brought up. We needed some trees planted. We've all said that. I don't think we need to hear from the general public that we need some trees planted because we have some vacancies out there. I would suggest, I know the selectmen require 2 public hearings. I have no problem with that. But I would suggest that we don't have to submit all our recommendations to the selectmen in one big ball. I think we could submit some recommendations right off on obvious things.
Should we get on their agenda in 2 weeks? They're having their regular meeting in 2 weeks.
Well, it depends on what we do right now. I mean, if we vote that we should have some trees planted in the vacant spots, the type and size that there are recommendations. If we do that, we could submit that recommendation. Yes.
I don't think that's our place. We're making an advisory.
This is recommendations.
Advisory.
I'm talking about recommendations.
Right. I think you find it to be a larger, call it selection of sizes and varieties on spring as opposed to fall.
Maybe so, but isn't fall considered the best planting time?
Not necessarily. Somebody who can water in spring, no matter what time of year you do it. The pros and cons of that would be you can say, well, you plant in the fall because, it's a little cooler, get the chance to get their root system out, but then you run into, the issues with salt, with freezing thaw in the ground. In springtime, you can say, well, gee, find a variety of sizes of trees, depending on what size trees you want. Okay, you want to put an American elm out there, what varieties, okay? What size, what diameter, what the ultimate height is that you want it to be. And then you're going to need time to look at what the soil structure is in the spots where you want to put the trees, so that you'll know that you're giving up one of these here, and then what we're going to do it is the old saying goes, you're going to develop a hole for a $5 plant. You have to make it so that that tree has a really sharp growth in that particular spot. So I think you're more likely to get called volunteers when you do that. Does anybody know if there's a faucet outlet anywhere along there or something you attach a hose to it?
No,
We've
got a pond in the fire
I know
department.
is the one on the side of the police station, because that's how I used to get my water.
I don't believe so.
But just getting back to the approaching to the selectmen, I mean, I think it's quite a good idea to sound them out somehow, but the brief here, I think, is to come up generally to advise on the whole thing. It's whether we do it in piecemeal may confuse them.
I just feel if we don't do something, we're dragging our feet.
The charge that we received says
I know what it is.
we're supposed to submit it 6 months after being formed.
Within 6 months.
The the what do I want to say, UGAC shall submit the list to the selectmen 6 months after being formed.
That's what it says, 6
Yeah,
months
that's
after
why-
the day?
I think to
And
preempt.
the question of, the last sentence in our charge gives me pause because I'm not sure this is exactly what they really meant. And I asked the question, I'm looking for an answer. It says, prior to reporting back to the selectmen, we should have no less than 2 public hearings.
Prior to reporting back.
But public hearings literally is posting a legal
Oh, I know
notice
what a
in the
public hearing is.
newspaper.
What
Well,
brief?
you're not the only one here, Fred, everybody else doesn't know. Which
Really?
means we have to have money to post these things, which we do not have a budget for. So the question that I asked was if there was clarification on the word public hearings or words, and maybe from what it sounded like with one of the other things that they told us, which was well, they told us to have meetings, public hearings, and to that's it, right here. Present ideas and receive input. So my question to them was, do you really mean a public forum, like a question and answer, almost like, like a coffee meeting where, we can maybe have a list that this is what we've come up with so far.
Not a hearing.
Not a
As
hearing.
opposed to a hearing.
And
yeah.
yes, this would be posted in the newspaper, it would be posted on the website, it would be posted around, I could put some copies like at the library and the council on aging, just as this is what we're gonna have. So I'm waiting to hear, because I spoke with one of them this evening before I left, and he said, I don't think we really meant like a bit like the golf center public hearing.
Right.
Well, that'd be interesting if they didn't mean that, because that's what it means,
Well,
public hearing.
to present ideas and receive input from the public,
What do you think a public hearing is?
well,
You can count on 2 hearings if you actually have a public hearing and you advertise it in the news.
No money.
It would be about $1,000 for 2 separate public hearings for the legal notice.
yeah.
Whereas before, you could probably get somebody to just cover it as a person.
So we gotta get,
We have Jen's,
Selectman Justice and wrote this chapter. So maybe you can bump into him down the town hall
I did tonight on the way here, yes.
and ask
He
him
was gonna
if
run
he
it by,
can.
JR for clarification, and I did send the email to Alan to make sure they got it and to the board and said, I'm trying to clarify, I was talking about like a public bylaw meeting here that we have to notify things, we have to have prepaid, all this special,
Right.
or are we just
Just have a forum
Are
like
we
they
just having
had.
a forum like we did? Well, even
Yeah,
with,
but the town hall.
I mean, and even like with the ER, at the school.
Right.
That was not a
just
public
forum.
hearing.
No, that was theirs, though, that wasn't.
No, but the same idea.
Yeah.
They're telling us what, they're asking questions. And I think that that's really what they meant. Because it's up to them to make the final decisions, not us.
That's correct.
Right? I mean, so I'm waiting to hear back about the clarification. So that.
Thanks for doing that.
The only thing, well, because it kept bothering me, because I'm like, how do you do that? This is like too legal, like, we're supposed to be an advisory committee.
Right.
We're just supposed to be, these are the ideas that we went through, explored, got information about. We're seeing if Joe and Mary Public think that this is also what they're thinking about, or what other things do just not occur to us. Not a huge legal thing, which is what
That's what a
it
public
comes
hearing
up,
is.
yeah.
Right.
And that's in the bylaws, there's a whole list of all the information that you have to present, and so.
But hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll just be like what Green ER did, because that would
That's
get
what
the job
I
done.
asked, and I said, in fact, we had a meeting down here, remember, before they started doing this, and like Tracy made whoopie pies, and when they were talking
Pumpkin.
about the police station and thing, and
Right.
Okay, so assuming, let's assume that, which is the best course of action, when are we going to have the tables?
well, they should get it. I could have it now, but I'm not.
Right.
I don't have my computer, but I should know tomorrow morning.
Yeah, they're in the meetings.
So, I mean, I think the basis is the same, we have to notify the public that we're gonna have this, because that would be part of the charge. So,
So
we
the
can
format,
have,
the format.
but, having it kind of paper legal notice as opposed to calling Jack and saying,
Can he go?
who? No, I couldn't, I don't need it. It's up to Tim.
I don't, well, no.
Yeah, there's more questions. We don't have time to.
Oh, okay.
That was,
Just, can I ask a question about the difference between grinding out the stumps and digging them out? Where the roots are falling along the ground so much that grass will never grow where the roots are anyways. Wouldn't it be better to have a machine to dig the stumps out and pull those roots out of the ground?
6-1 half does another, because once you get the trunk, the stump out of there, then those roots are going to die. You'll see more mushrooms initially, but then that withers the decays away from the roots. And then the years
Ground settles in.
as opposed to, I mean, if you knew the height and the width of the tree that was there, then the tree is 40 feet high and 25 feet wide. And technically, the roots are at 25 feet around the trunk. So, if you really want to look up that much of a space, you can all.
Times once you can grab a hold of them, or you can pull them out.
Not necessarily. The stump grinding gets the stump out of there. It's probably not perfect, but it's probably the easier way of doing it, because
You don't have to.
probably not going to plant
Right.
a tree right back in that spot.
Right,
The
so
whole
that's what
idea
we
is
set it
get
back further,
Pull
right?
it back. That would work.
How far back from where the stumps are now, go back 10, 15 feet?
I don't even know that you'd have to go that far back.
Oh, really?
Once those roots are taken away from the trunk, they're going to start to decompose. And like I said, we get a sprout of mushrooms, I used to do that all the time. Oh my God, there's mushrooms everywhere in the lawn. So, well, when did you take the tree down? And they'll go, I don't know what you did. And it's because the mushrooms grow on that root system, and they may pop up for 10 days, with the right moisture. It's a pretty perfect scenario. So I think as far as causing less damage, just grinding out the stumps. And then, if you go to plant another tree in the same roots there, everybody cut out, try to pull that out.
what's the cost difference between
Um,
the two methods?
I don't know what a stump grinder goes for. Yes, I mean, I would say that you might be better off putting feelers out to anybody who's either a tree service or a landscaper who might have one, and ask them if they can take them out. Either way, you know what, this might be an issue, because it's not fun. What's under the ground in those trees? There's water lines, electric lines, whatever that.
Definitely have to.
Yeah, you want Dig Safe to come in and figure out, Dig Safe may not even know what's there.
Yeah.
If you just grab something and yank it out, that could be
Yeah.
a heck of a lot more of an issue
Right.
ultimately if you just go and yank something out as opposed to calling it grinding. You can rent stump grinders, but if you just do it and say, okay, it's going to be 3 days worth of work to grind this out, and you just rent a stump grinder for X number of days and go back.
And how far would they need to be set back off the road in order for them to be healthy?
I would go at least 30 feet. I mean, if you think about, if you've ever been out when you have snow at the end of the driveway. Plows are coming by and they're pushing back the snow. You know, in your heart of hearts, looking at your plow, we're gonna walk back another 10 feet, so you're covered in slush. That slush has all the salt and stuff in it, so if it throws it back 10 to 15 feet, you're still gonna have a residual area all the way around that with the salt and the soil. So I think 30 feet would probably be a good compromise off the edge of the pavement, depending on how you place it, what you want. But you would really like this to be a big shade tree. You want to know the ultimate height and width, so you can pull it back far enough so that you don't have branches growing out into the power lines with the tree and you put your somewhere down the road.
Yeah, makes sense. Thanks.
Okay, we're going to come up with a recommendation of tree species to replace.
Yeah.
Any sort of
I can do some research on that, but what I need to know from the group is, okay, what's the ultimate height and width of trees that you're looking for? Do you want trees that are going to be trees primarily for the flowers they have? Are you looking for a native tree that will produce some kind of a nut or a berry that the birds can eat? There's a lot of parameters on that as far as what
and when you mean width, it's the canopy.
the width of the canopy, right? Because that depends on the placement of it, the huge difference on what you're going to put in.
Does anyone know at the previous well, I guess it wasn't technically a public hearing, but 3DR conversations or other conversations around the trees, what the public generally wanted on that?
Yeah.
Native.
Native. Yeah,
Oh, native,
exactly.
but-
Yeah, I'll remember that.
Yep.
Native, but specifically what Tim was asking about, what the purpose would be, whether it's shade or,
I don't think people got into that, but I would assume park and atmosphere is looking for shade.
Yeah, that would be my assumption, shade.
Yeah, I mean, you could get something that would grow to 20 feet tall and 15 feet wide that would provide some shade, maybe not necessarily as much as something that grows
Nothing like what's there now.
75 feet.
Those are big.
Yeah, I
Those,
mean, there are a lot of big trees, and that's ultimately what the thought process was 50 years ago, that the bigger the better.
You're right.
And, silver maples were considered the wonder of the world back in the day, but they turned out to be fairly frail, easily broken. And so a lot of the trees that you see coming out. And then there's, all kinds of other things that you could put in there. They were talking originally Zelkovers, which, if you think of Zelkovers, they're actually a type of elm tree.
Yes.
And, but they're very disease resistant. There's one variety that's hardier around here than others. It's a very specific variety. So,
Was the Zelkovia, was that the one that was not a native tree?
Right.
yes.
But if you look,
But elms, they would have been originally elms.
They
before
were
Dutch elm.
beautiful homes.
Yeah.
No, they were.
Yeah.
But-
Well, there are new varieties of that they have found that are very disease resistant. So, time will tell to what degree they're disease resistant. They wouldn't be native in the fact that they're original American elm, but they would be a hybridized version of that. It would grow like an elm, look like an elm, but have less problems. It's kind of like the old chestnut trees. And how people got around that is they started planting horse chestnut trees. And horse chestnut trees just were messy,
Yeah.
the leaves got fungus diseases, they were miserable. So doesn't necessarily make it, the best in the world. So there are a lot of varieties of trees that might be better.
but if you look at the Zelkovia trees that they planted up the mound, they don't look anything like an American elm. They don't go up in a single trunk.
Depends on the variety.
Well, the ones they planted don't
Yeah,
look
I mean,
anything like it.
there's probably half a dozen different varieties, and when I was approached, I came up with which variety it was. But there was one that had that singular stem that grew up, that had a bigger canopy, but not as wide a canopy as, say, a traditional elm tree might have.
What are the trees, because they are really beautiful, when you're on Newman Road and you're going from the marsh up to the top of Old Town Hill? Like, when you pass the parking lot on your right, and then there's a set of them that are beautiful along a
Planted
field.
in people's yards.
No, they're on, it's protected land.
Okay.
But they're beautiful, they're
they flower?
huge. I don't think so. It's like, they're just like plain
they're the same kind of
trees, and in the
maples that
fall,
are
they all
They're
turn
maples.
bright yellow.
They're maples.
Those are maples?
I think they're the same type of trees that are around, that we're looking at down here.
Yeah, those are beautiful.
But that's the reason people plant maples, is because they look so spectacular in the winter. But the problem is that, for instance, in Vermont, they're losing maple trees left and right. And the reason they're losing maple trees is because the soil is too acidic. The soil, the water, the rainfall, all of those things, have an effect on it. And, they were talking, planting sugar maples initially around, because sugar maples are a traditional tree that, do well, tap into sugar, lessons and all that. But so many of the state schools and commissions are saying that, don't plant sugar maples this far south because it's not cold enough. The trees don't survive because it's too warm in the wintertime. And even getting further up into parts of central and northern Vermont, there hasn't been much sugar maples. There was an article that, passed on the stuff in the package saying sugar maple is not what we want, which is 25 years back to the square one, where the trees are going to start losing branches, dying off, getting weaker because it's not cold enough.
What about oak trees?
Oaks, there's plenty of different oaks. There's some that are taller, some that are shorter.
And they take a long time.
Yeah, that's the issue. I mean, the things that are quick to grow, in a nutshell, are quick to reach their maturity and then sorry, we're out of here. That's the problem with some of the natives, is they're just, second generation trees. Like you get things like poplars. You have a field that gets totally burned off and trees start to come back and you get things like the poplar. And they will live 15, 20 years and they die out, but by that time the pines are starting to come along behind them, and then the pines start coming along, and then the maples come along, and then boom, eventually the oak trees. So it's not that we're going to have that kind of an issue down there where the species are fighting each other. They would, it would become grass. They would all start to come in.
This is New England.
Yeah, so it's just picking trees for a particular purpose. So I can come up with a list of natives that I think would be good. The list.
With
Yeah.
varying.
Well, it would be varying size of
Size of
trees,
trees.
whereas, okay, this one will grow to be 70 feet, give you a lot of shade. This one will grow to, 35 feet, and it will give you some shade, but, not a huge area.
What sort of size do you plant in when they're?
Well, I mean, depending on what the budget is for it.
Yes.
I mean, you can get stuff out of the West Coast that you're going to need a backhoe and a crane to plant it. And, that could wind up being a $5,000 tree to plant. Or you can buy smaller things that, well, not necessarily saplings, because I think that's just asking for trouble when you have a place where
You need to have
yeah,
protective
at least
fencing
the
around.
trees caliber.
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff, if you place the orders with, say, like Northeast Nursery or and they have a lot of the native type of stuff. It's just, it's like saying, I want to buy a car, how much is it going to cost me? Well, what kind of car do you want? Oh, a nice one. Okay, okay, what's your definition of nice, how many dollars? And then, some of the natives, you can only get them to a certain size because they just, they have a root system that goes too deep, straight down, which means they're not taking them out and transplant them. So you might have to wait a little time for those to be established. I'll come up with a list size
Yeah.
of
What about fruit
of
trees?
trees.
We
I
would
would,
appreciate it.
I would stay away
Yeah,
from
yeah.
anything that would be a fruit tree.
Yeah.
There was a lady came into the store one time and she said that along the rail trail in Newburyport, that there was a tree that her husband was picking fruit on and eating it and really liked it in the backyard. And she said, the first thing I would do is tell your husband not to eat any more fruit because when the arsenic levels are in the soil,
This is
from
by
the
the
railroad,
railroad.
which is how they
Yeah.
kill off the weeds and kept them
Yeah.
where it should be, and that residual would still be in there. It is, but it could be. So, yeah.
And it would also be messy.
Well, fruit trees would be
Yeah.
messy because if, they look beautiful, but you'd have to then spray them so that people could eat the apples and then spray the trees or prune them. A lot of people have gone to things like the ornamental cherries and the ornamental pears. The pears are probably the least messy of them. If you look in the spring, like in front of the city hall in Newport, there's these beautiful white flowering trees that are there in the spring. I mean, you see them in a lot of different places. And those are what they call ornamental pears. They do not bear fruit at all. They just have a spectacular flower in spring, and then that's it.
I don't think we're looking for that, I think we're looking for shade.
Yeah.
And I also, I'm curious if other people feel the same way, but I mean, the ones that do get huge are so beautiful. I mean, would we want to just plant all of the ones that get to that
But you
beautiful extreme
You
height?
could randomly in different spots, say like, okay, in one, you could plant some shorter,
Something small.
smaller, that somebody could pull up a chair, sit underneath there, would get shade, 2 or 3 people could do it, as opposed to bigger trees, which, will give you enough room to put, 40 people underneath there in lounge chairs. So,
And wouldn't that be better with one? If there was more sunlight, we kept this,
oh, definitely.
so anything
And smaller
around.
shades.
Yeah, so
I
you
mean, I
have
can
to-
see some bigger ones like on corners maybe or something. and-
Or along Green, I mean, I love along Green in Hanover, the
Yeah.
idea of really
Right,
big
close to
trees.
the
Or it's
highway
just
or-
a case of indenting
Not
where the
too
trees
close
are
to
off
the-
the road.
Yeah.
If you walk along Green Street now, you'll see where some grass seed was put down at some point in time. The grass is coming out and it's not growing very well. So now it's in the back of the cars and it's scuffing that dirt. It's all packed down. And the reason it's all packed down is because when off the road, they just park right there and do what the cars do. The garage protects your grass seed, but the tolerance of it is just kept so that the grass can get established. Grow with the path for a road. So those are all kinds of considerations and stuff to do with that. But I would say you can have a mix of shorter trees in areas where you want to accent for people to sit underneath. And then if you want to replace things on green lawn, then do the bigger trees right there so that putting the trees along Hanover might make it so that fewer people aren't interested. So there's some kind of pulling in.
Yeah, you can see where they.
And, people decide, say, to park on the other side of the street. We can't park on the other side, we park on Green Street. Neighbors not going to be happy about that, or there's some people that can't handle that. But if you have a softball game and people pull their cars off, but having some bigger trees and they can shade the cars so the cars don't get too hot, and also make it so that it's less likely, people will pull their parking. The whole idea is to keep people traffic on that side. It's what you're trying to achieve with the trees will determine what you want to do. So if you want bigger native trees along Green Street and Hanover Street,
Yeah.
something there, and then you might be able to come up with different trees for different spots. If it's something on the high road side that is indented, is that walkway that's going to come on. And that's the original, the idea was to widen that walkway, wheelchair accessible. Then you could put something offset from the edge of that walkway back in, call it halfway, so that you get some shade, so if people want to sit on the day, you can do that.
And small ones.
Yeah, you might want something that's almost like more of a needle type of thing, so you don't have to be a these from top. But that's a possibility. It's just a case of looking where the tree is going to go. And, you know, here's a list of trees. These are needled. We've got this area. These are the gaps for the tallest ones that are natives. These are some of the varieties that along areas to do what you want.
Okay. So you can give us a list of potential species.
Thanks so much for doing that, donating your time and all that.
On natives. No, it's funny because I talked to James even before the committee had been formed and said, okay, what can we do to kind of start making this better? And it's something that someone like Tracy said, it's kind of different. Tracy might have to do that as well. Here's my thoughts on what you could do as kind of temporary things on this. Trees, got some lime, got some gypsum. See the whole area of alternative called rescue, which is a seed mix that once it's established, it takes less water and fertilizer to keep it going. It's extremely resilient to traffic. If you're walking on it, it's less likely to the root system is huge competing in soil. So if you have a drought, this stuff will snap back faster than the grass is the best thing to do. And that could just be an overseed. Machine slicing, which is soil drops the seed in there at the time that grass, call it overcome everything else that's in there. It will be, it doesn't grow as fast, it's small, keep them on those everything, and grow inside in the old shade, less water, less fertilizer when it's established, it takes a lot of foot traffic. That might be a more simple fix, but
What's it called? Tall
turf type.
turf type.
Where that whole park is so compact, slice seed might be the thing to do before you even
I think
fertilize it.
I think the gypsum would be the ultimate.
You said that takes a couple of years though.
Yeah, well, you need to do multiple applications. If you have a clay driveway or a clay tennis court, and you accidentally have gypsum on and the rain hit it, within a couple of days it's going to look like somebody took a little shotgun through holes in the driveway or the tennis court. It just eats down through it. But it's also good for neutralizing salt. So those areas where you know there's a lot of throwback, either pre-existing or in the future, you can do an application late winter up that around the peripheral area of it, or if there's any areas that start to become more, compact. It's relatively cheap. It's like $15 for about 1,000 square feet. I don't know how.
What was the other thing you mentioned? Nutrient.
Well, limestone.
Limestone.
That's something that should be given on the greens. Maybe not every year, but maybe every 2 years. I mean, it's something else. There's spreaders that not on the back of the riding monorails, half an hour. And something that's harmful.
And
Good.
gypsum, any issue with toxicity? Like I'm imagining my toddler out there eats everything except stuff.
Once that's down, water gets on it just dissolves into the soil. If you're talking to the mowers,
We just put buckets with water in them as we go. Make a little trail right through.
it's always best to have it down in that
stay off it.
Okay, the rain's coming in 3 days, so let's get this stuff.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
How about like, at the corner where we, with the old, is that where the truck was, right?
Yeah.
By the gas station, police
The hot
station?
rod, yeah.
Yeah. Trees are not a great idea right there because you keep trying to see the jump.
Well, I have a
around the
problem
corner.
with the low shrubs at the end of Green Street. They should be trimmed up and thinned out, because it's quite dense there, but the trees get up in the air. Once you get up 10 feet higher, it's not gonna be an issue. A trunk is not gonna be an issue.
If they're pruned as the trees are young and starting to grow, and you start removing some of those lower limbs, they have a tendency to not grow at the, as opposed to something that, you know, the little trees, the branches either going to grow this way or this way. When the trees are young, they're pruned up, which doesn't take long, then you've created the trunk. But as the tree grows, then everything that grows up above that, you're going to have room to get underneath there or somebody wants to sit there. The same with shrubs, you know. You can take, and I didn't look to see what's down there, but you can take the existing shrubs that are there, and let's say they're rhododendrons.
But yeah.
Yeah, you could
There
cut,
are needs.
you could cut them back, say, a third of the way in 1 year. They're going to start growing out more this way. Then you cut back another third. Over a 3 to 4 year period, you take them down this way and this way, so that you have something that's more ornamental, not creating the issues that you're thinking about.
Could trees be planted in that area, that short little, I mean, it's basically a road on either side that makes that Green Street a dead-end street?
I think the issue is that trees did really well in New England when we had dirt roads. And once we started paving the roads, that's when a lot of the real old maples and other started to come downhill because there was no way to get the water and the nutrients to them. So if you're trying to have, you know, this is all hot topped here, this is all hot topped here, and so now you have a 4-foot area for a tree to grow in. It's not practical. You're better off with shrub or some kind of.
Those aren't weeds. Those aren't
No.
weeds. No,
They just look
they're
bad.
a decorative. No, I don't know what it is.
Do they
They're
flower
decorative.
in the summer?
Yeah. In the spring, I think, yeah.
Okay, because I was thinking, from the times I've been by there, when you're coming up on that intersection, you're not always looking to the right to see. You're looking to the left to see if somebody's going to cut you off coming high road. But I think it was that public hearing on that, that somebody had mentioned that down that end there was some Rose of Sharon.
Because Bush the Sharon wouldn't.
No, that's fall, that's a fuzz.
Mine are just blooming now.
It's
Still, oh yeah, oh yeah, that's
But if you prune those back in spring,
Mine,
yeah,
my tree, yeah,
the Rose of Sharon.
this tree,
Yeah.
you want me to prune it?
Well, depending on the variety, there are some varieties that are low growing now.
Because it's new. Well, it's newly planted.
Yeah, but if you just go along with the tips and prune that
I
back.
give,
Hmm?
I give.
No, you gave me a double white. This is from my mother's original Rose Sharon. I was, no,
But that's, you know, again, that's a perfect example of putting what belongs in a given area.
right, and the ones down there have never been pruned in their life. Still, they're all
Right,
growing out.
that's correct.
They're going out of the bottom of the side. Some
Yeah,
of these
just suckering out,
Yeah,
just
they're-
like that particular tree we looked at, was there. And just prune the suckers away and, you know, yeah. And then shade and mulch around those trees. You know, dig it up around the trees that you want to keep. Put bark mulch in there, let ground covers, so that you don't run into, you know, someone with a weed whacker in the front, because they're not going to be traipsing through ground covers or mulch to get to it, because there's no grass to cut. You can keep one of those away from it, and that may go along the line of the old trees, but also the new trees.
Yeah. I'm sorry, one more comment on the trees, because you had mentioned some needle trees too. The two needle trees that are there, and this is just a personal opinion, so I'm curious if other people feel similarly. They do seem like they sort of stick out a little bit like a sore thumb, whereas everything else is like more of that maple look. I know they're all different trees, but more of that sort of big leafy tree. So I guess my inclination would be if others feel similarly, for everything planted to be in that sort of like leafy looking variety. People feel similarly or
My
not.
point on planting needle thing was if you're gonna have something closer to the pond, then
Just to keep the leaves
Keep
out
the
of the
leaves
pond.
leaves out of the pond, so you don't have that issue of the leaves getting in the pond, decomposing, somewhere in the bottom. Now you got this layer of rock building up in there, which leads to additional problems, whereas needle trees, yes, you get some drop in the fall. It's not the same as when leaves drop off the trees and then they go.
Yeah, I guess I personally just don't love the look of them as much on the green, just given that it seems more like field-like. But
Did you go down by the lower green at all?
yeah, I know that they are down
You
there.
have everything, like, you have like two of everything down there. It's
Yeah.
like, it's quite a variety
For
of,
instance,
we
there
have
are some-
deciduous and evergreens.
Yeah.
a needle tree called barkish.
Yep.
Tends to drop its needles in the
Yep.
fall,
Yep.
and then new ones come out in the spring. So there's all kinds of things you can do, but if you have a list, then this is where people, photos first, and you can look at stuff and go, ooh,
Yeah.
I really like that. That looks like something that, would fit in to an area, but it's trying to find native trees that grow to a certain height that are not brittle, things like that.
Yeah.
It's brittle and it's, a lot of the natives grow in the wild environment where there's other trees around it to protect it more, so that when you get snow load in the winter, it doesn't tend to be as bad as, whereas if something was out in the open, it would be on the green. That, you might not get as much, damage from snow
Yeah.
or ice. Some of them, something you're down.
Yeah.
So that's why I make recommendations on the top of my head. What blooms, what height. It's gonna have fruit, it's gonna be, plant some fruit trees in the public park.
Push through.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fruit falls off, the next thing you know, you've got yellow jackets there.
Yeah, right.
Somebody's kid gets signed who's allergic to.
Hundreds of stylings. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so it sounds like others feel like they do like the idea of both the leafy trees and the more pine type trees.
I could take a look at them.
There's a few varieties that might work in there. I mean, there's a lot of things that the black pines that grow on the sides of mountains. Some that grow on the side of Mount Washington, Park Road. The trees that literally grow on this they stop. But they do tend to have the branches naturally grow all the way around.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'll reserve that until we see the list.
See the list.
The only reason why down on the lower green, I feel like they fit better there is like if you think about, and I know that they all died in a storm, but on top of Old Town Hill, there were all those beautiful pines that sadly got knocked over in a windstorm, but those are beautiful and they're right by the lower green, so it seems to fit that area, whereas up by the upper green, it seems more like leafy trees, and I don't know, but anyway. But yeah, but we can reserve that for when you come back with the list.
Yeah.
And the good thing is the town has a tree account. They have money on an account for tree plantings. Buying trees.
And we have the account
For the green
The green
itself.
itself.
Yeah.
Well, see, only
Yeah.
one time that there was an account.
$9,400, well, $9,430.50 to be exact, is in a general gift donation fund that was set up for tree plantings in Newbury, not just the green.
Right.
And then we have $54,000 for the green itself. That was donated by the months.
donated with any strings attached.
That it was for the evergreen
That's specific
restoration
for
and
trees
beautification of the evergreen.
So it could be trees, it could be anything.
Right,
There's no,
it's just for the evergreen.
there's no sort of
The
stipulation.
irony is the constellation house that
That's
The-
it.
Oh, it's up
No,
there.
no,
Yeah,
that-
the other.
Pablo is now selling.
Oh,
I see.
okay,
So,
right. Okay, so,
but yeah, that's what it was for.
right, so there's,
You can get some sizable trees for around $1,000.
Can we get the
Is
highway
that
department
just
to
the tree
put
or
it?
is that plant?
That would just be, I mean, the tree is really stuff that needs to shade. Platinum would just be a lot of work. So if you got, like you said, 3 to 4 inch caliber, something that's 12 to 20 feet tall, maybe not as big as it can be, but it's within a few years, it's going to make really nice.
I feel that the smaller trees of that size have a better chance of survival than the bigger ones. The bigger ones really gotta be watered and have tended to.
Yeah, I mean, there's things that you can add to the soil, there's what called soil moisture, granular,
Oh, yes.
that you add, it looks like sugar. You add water to it and it smells like it looks like sugar.
I
Down the
knew.
island?
That will allow you to mix that in the soil. As the soil starts to dry, the soil moist will release its water back into the soil. And then, once it rains again, it swells back up again as the soil dries. So a lot of,
there's some sort of what would lead into imply that the town Newbury would have to contract someone to do all this sort of regular soil maintenance and everything during this growing period.
well,
And
Well, we
within
do
their
have a
budget,
DPW.
if there's,
they would do that.
if
Way
there,
it would alter.
if there is a way of, let's say on Green Street, log lines and mains are on the side closest to the green. That could be tapped into. And then you have some kind of a faucet that might be raining in the course of winter time. But that would allow a hose to be hooked up, there would be probably some volunteers to go out and water stuff, you know, with a
I'm
hose.
sure the city of Newburyport would give us a nice surge out for that.
It should be, it should be published.
That's
It's a big
all.
fire hydrant
So like-
there, so
like
it's
you-
got to be,
Like you have at cemeteries. You have a little-
yeah.
That's the best.
Not Newbury.
No,
We need a
No, but I mean-
force it.
In
Most
Melrose,
of those
that's
cemeteries
here.
are before water was
Yeah.
so it's just,
Put that into the use, but, someone to come around and do regular soil mows, gypsum
the
mows.
soil moisture only need to be done once.
Oh, right, it's not a
Yeah.
weekly thing job or something.
No, it's,
No.
once that's in there, it's probably good for 4 or 5 years, and by 4 or 5 years, then you don't need to worry about that. Mulching, yeah, that, you can have a mulching party each spring, you know, like people in there. Again, that's the type of thing you can bring in next to the yards and have it become a Boy Scout,
Or,
Girl Scout
yeah,
project,
yeah,
or whatever group.
Pay taxes. Should be the DPW.
And sorry, gypsum, how frequent would that application?
It's usually once a year, and depending on the degree of compaction of the soil, it might be 1 year, it might be 2, 3, or 4 years. And generally it's spring for 2 purposes.
I should know that by taking a few pours and you know how compact this
What
is.
about limestone? Just one.
Limestone, generally speaking, I have recommended to my customers that they lime down every year or every other year. And you can do a pH test fairly easily and know how much lime you have to put down. Lime is cheap, you know, it's for what it does. Back in the days when we had the recession and people were worried about spending money on the bonds, and what was the best thing they could do was to put money on the line. Because that's going to get the acidity out of the soil, which is going to make it easier for the grass to grow, even if there's not a lot of nutrients there. But money in the line, in the long run, it's not each other, which is just that, you know, both of us.
Good. Any more tree questions?
Right, I think we keep trees.
And I'm a florist, so take that seriously.
What you're saying is we're going to the wrong tree.
Oh.
Okay, good. Thank you.
We have a lot of this about
There's a lot of, yeah.
things to digest.
And when you get the list, you can.
Yeah, yeah,
And we can have fun, because then we can like look at the picture.
yeah.
And then we can make poster boards and whatever, we're having our little public thing.
Yeah. And also, we
Make a
need
slideshow.
to look about doing the surgery on the existing ones as well.
That, I think,
Some definite branches.
if, technically by state law, if you're going to be pruning or removing trees on town-owned property, you have to have a public hearing. And I think we just approach it from the point that, okay, public hearing is to prune the dead wood out of the trees, the branches that are more likely to fall, and then just get all that done. And then at that point, once you start doing some pruning, and you're up there in bucket front, you're going to see if there's issues down inside the trees that you can't necessarily see from the ground. Then there could be an additional public hearing that says, okay, these are the trees that we're going to take out because they're in danger. You know, have a ready backup, up with the line and say, okay, we're going to take out this silver maple, we're going to put in this tree.
Right.
And, you know, take out the tree, grind out the stump, and then plant, you know, the new tree, allow time to get the trees approved out, and then look at which ones are good ones, which ones are bad ones, and then by the time that gets all done, then that could be looking at spring to purchase trees, to put back into those spots where trees might have to come down. And winter's not a bad time to do it.
No.
Talking with James, he said, you know, if we're not plowing snow in the wintertime, there's not, you know, other things that you can do. You can't really pave a road or whatever. It's a great time to, you know, cut down trees and do things up.
Finish out at this place.
Cover with sort of just everything sort of.
Yeah, there's no leaves, you can see the shape of the
Right.
tree, you can see, it's easier to move in the bucket truck in there to do stuff, so.
Now, the highway guys that are working on the bucket truck, are they arborists or anything? Or
They went
just, they
through
get
a
up there?
whole program with, I think it was Mayor Tree Service, who offers that to the towns. Let us show you how to do this.
Yeah,
And so they went through that program before the bucket truck even went out to do it. And, you know, the truck is outfitted with, you know, hydraulic chainsaws as opposed to kind of hand loaded.
Nice.
So it makes it easier for the guys working, because now they got a pole, and we'll just get the pole up there with the chainsaw, pull the trigger, and they can cut down through stuff, but I have to reach out for chainsaws.
Chainsaws,
Not the best.
State purpose.
Yeah, definitely state. So,
Okay.
to the tree, yeah. It's town property, so it's a place to use my
And that's on you to set up those, correct?
Yeah, yeah, do that. The public hearing, we can do the budget, out of the budget, existing budget for, to do the advertising for that.
But again, that was something that we would have to do in our recommendation at the end of the 6 months. That
Well,
would be a-
truthfully, I think it would be smarter to get out there if, you know, it's an open winter and we can get the trimming done first. Because that was, I had talked to Tracy about that, saying, you know, why don't we do the public hearings for the upper and lower green for pruning, prune stuff out, find out what's good, what's bad, and then know, you know, what we have to maybe cut down, what we have to replace. And that was the original idea.
Great idea.
Again, we should be making that recommendation.
Yeah, so,
Right.
Yeah.
so So somehow we have to get in front of the Board of Selectmen
On this subject.
for this particular subject,
Yeah.
make sure that we do have a chance to get that done before December.
Well, technically, with trees, as far as pruning or removing, that, the purview of that by state law is in the hands of the tree warden. So I could just say, okay, here's what we're gonna do, we're gonna take a look at these trees, have the public hearing that says, okay, we're gonna go through, we're gonna prune all these trees all the way along on all the sides of the green, and, you know, get the deadwood out so it's safer, get the branches that are weirded out.
Arms on.
And then, while we're doing that, we can make the determination of, okay, if we want to replace trees, these are the ones that should be replaced.
So it opens the
Putting
door
it out
now
full
for
force.
replacement.
Yeah.
But there were some, as you saw, with fungus growing on the side and things, which,
I think that the hardest part is, once you get up and you're looking down on the tree, and in some cases, then you just see these big gaping holes, and if you shine a flashlight down in there, and you see the tree is completely hollow, that's just waiting for the great storm of 2000 and whatever, for that tree to come down.
The miraculous is running out there.
It's now, you can see the down in those storms. And James had tried to get the tree down, the wall was just saying, he was taking I guess actually couldn't even take the tree down, so that was that. And it was up and down, so it was like a bad storm, to just split right in half. And basically, all these dormant squirrels that were in the center of the tree, and were just laying all over the place. No, no far out, the sun gets longer. That was just, I went down there and looked, all I could see was squirrel bodies everywhere.
no, okay, right. So we need to, on that, I mean, that's sort of outside this, but we need to get this, we need to find out which trees need to come down, because that only opens the door to the main project.
But
That's
Tim
his
said that's
purview.
it, that's
No.
his
I know.
I'm
expertise.
putting them back up.
Oh, yeah, yes, but
But then there'd be a better idea of which ones need to be replaced. You know, if you want to put into the report back in the selectmen, okay, we've identified this, let's say the 16 trees that are coming in. Of the 16 trees that are there, 6 need to be replaced, 6 need to be cut down and replaced. So we recommend that these 6 trees come down.
That'd be after the prune.
Yeah.
You'd have to-
The pruning,
So
we get the
would be
dangerous
number
stuff
one.
out of there, all sod, and then, you know, there was one with the branches coming.
coming right there.
Yeah, and that's just,
That is good.
Little center field.
yeah, so.
So I'm jotting down, just make sure we're all clear, so Tim has been doing all the work and has all the know-how. So you're gonna be the one to set up the public hearing, since we're hoping that we actually aren't gonna have
Well,
a
public
technical
hearings would
public
just
hearing.
be.
Oh, yeah,
for
just the trees. Oh, yeah,
themselves.
right.
You know, if
Just
it's-
pruning.
Yeah, if there was another public hearing, or public forum, it's not gonna cost anything for that. Like by law in Massachusetts, you know, post on the trees.
Thank you, man.
And this is just for limbs on the tree for
For
cover.
either for pruning the tree or for removing the tree, you need
And
a
say-
public hearing, unless it's in imminent danger
Danger.
of falling.
Yeah,
Okay. All right, sounds good. So that is out of our purview for now.
right.
I bet they don't, this is a Massachusetts.
Well, live free or die.
What?
Live free or die.
Yeah, right.
Don't park under the car because you may not live pretty much longer.
Yeah.
And the tree will die on you.
Yeah, that could affect-
I am scared of the one that's right in front of our house, though. It is so nice.
What's that?
When that went into effect.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, something like
Wow,
that. I
that's
tried to
early.
get out there. It's one of the oldest required, every city and town has to have a tree board in Massachusetts. No matter how small it is, how big it is. Who oversees the trees in that particular
Oh,
part.
that's okay.
So you, that's on you to get that done.
Yeah, set up
That has
a
nothing
public
to do with
hearing.
us.
Right.
Or, as I said, that's, I talked to Tracy about, doing the public hearing, that we would say, okay, the lower green and the upper green, we're gonna prune all the trees, and just get the dangerous stuff out of there, and then, at that point, we can make the determination of, did you see what looks like that particular tree, and then if it's removable, then we would have the hearings for the removal to get those trees out of there, but then that would give you guys an idea, okay, we're gonna take this many trees out, and then we're going to plant this many and know, okay, what we're gonna do.
So you haven't actually started doing that, but that is on your to-do.
That was on the agenda,
For
I think, a year ago. Yeah, and then the green yard thing came up, and we said, well, let's wait and see what happens before that.
So that's going away. You could escalate that to the top.
Yeah, it's just a case of, having a public hearing. Anybody who looks is gonna see this dangerous news there, and putting them out is just gonna make things better.
It's gonna be in 2 consecutive weeks, right?
Yeah, it has to be advertised 2 consecutive weeks, and basically it's just looking at,
And you need to go and inspect first, so
you look up there, I mean, you go along to each tree that's there, on the Green Street side and on the Hanover Street side,
down.
and then just prune out what, this, obviously, if you look up there, there's dead wood in there, or there's branches that are cut off in the great blizzard of whatever, and it was just cut, just to get that out of there, and now the rot's starting to go in there. Well, if that just keeps going this way, it's gonna get into the center of the tree, so just pruning it up so it's cleaned up and looks better, and then there'll be the determination, okay, is there any, or are there none that need to come down? That's gonna serve a big purpose for what recommendations you guys make. It's like,
The ones along High Road, you can't get
I gotta
involved
find
with?
out if those are state trees or private trees. Because if it's a state tree, then the state would have to sign off on pruning it out, or they may hire somebody. I don't know, but I gotta call, the state rep, Lenny Mayor's office, the lady who works there, she's been very good about giving me phone numbers of people who can help with.
While you're on the phone with her, ask her about that storm drain at the end of the crosswalk on the side too. There's a big hole right there, right in the crosswalk.
Well, have them at least look at it.
Know about it.
Yes. If it's, see, I don't know if that's on town property or not. But that's a quick phone call to James might answer that question on highway.
Again, if you
The
had
woman
layout-
that was down
if you had the layout
there
of the
taking
road
care of
for-
the police said that she called town hall and they told her it's a chance to call the state.
Okay, if it's the state, I found this out years ago. If it's something that's on state property, then the best way to do it is to call the state rep's office. Let them call and say, we have a problem here. In some cases, it's a lot quicker response than if a private citizen calls.
Somebody down the town hall would be better off calling than,
Oh, yeah, I mean, we get, James on highway will probably know who would be responsible for it. And,
he's put some cones there, so he must know about it.
yeah, and so it's just a case of getting that fixed before.
Somebody
They
gets
could have
hurt.
fixing the drain before they
Hey,
worry
there's
about fixing the hole.
been cones on the new Parker River Bridge now for 2 months.
It's just
Nothing's happened.
something they,
What's going on there?
Nothing's happened. What's going on? It's falling apart.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
New one?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the problems, yeah.
Okay, right.
All right. Moving on.
Moving on, yeah, so thank you very much for your
Yeah, thank you.
insight. It was very interesting and appreciate that.
Yeah, to get us
And
that
also
list.
the work you've still got to do for us as well. It's these things.
I'm retired, I have time.
I used to think the same thing.
Once I do the to-do list.
Yeah,
Yes, I
yeah,
do.
exactly. It's bigger by,
Yeah, good.
Lucky, yeah, retired.
Okay. So,
Retired, I got more to do now than that.
yeah,
right.
You got the blame for that.
always something.
Okay, moving on to
Yep.
the next list.
I have the info from the flagpole
Ah, yes, that was,
Sam. He went out twice, was I think the first time. Oh, he was gonna go and he couldn't get there, so he went out. He said, I took a look at the pole and it looks to be sound. Obviously, I couldn't inspect sections of the pole above the ground level. I saw no signs of rot. The only one item of consideration was a crack in the middle of the pole that looks like it's been there for a long time. This type of cracking in the wood member is very common and typically is not a concern if the member is split all the way through, which is, unless it's split all the way through, which is not the case. Hope that helps. That's what our building inspector had to say about the flood.
You didn't get a very good look at the bottom of the pole.
that we did. It's, you can,
Sounds
I don't know,
awful.
sounds to me like we should paint that thing and call it a day. If it thinks it's fine. I mean, you'd be the one who would know.
But. So
it
that's,
needs to be looked at. So,
It's below the pin, so it's not super crucial to the spread.
It'll still hold paint though, which is probably the main thing right now, just to get it up
yeah,
to looking good anyways.
Yeah.
it does.
so what else would you do with that? You carve out the, is there?
Yeah, you
Take
could.
it out.
Carve out a hunk of rock?
Yep.
And
Just,
as Robert said, you could shorten the pole a little bit.
just take the bottom 2 feet off. And then put it back. Just short.
You go right ahead.
But it's not 100% sound.
No.
So,
Just tap on it, you can hear the ball.
Yeah, I think so.
yeah, you get that when you guys do that. I'm not a wood expert.
And I didn't know that ahead of time when I did that. Probably think, oh, he knew that was rotten, I didn't.
How's the one down at the local school? School bus?
Better shape than that. That needs paint.
It seems like they're painted at the end of last year or something. This was all
No,
fresh.
that's not our concern.
And now it's not again. but-
Right. Okay, so flagpole, we need to.
Yeah, the bucket truck to paint it,
Yeah.
right? You can use your bucket
You can
truck
get it out there without,
sink it in the
Soft.
ground. It's pretty solid.
Not that
Throw
far
some
in,
plywood
like,
down.
Well, if he times it right, he can paint it in the wintertime when the ground is frozen and it's above freezing latex paint, we can get away with it.
the great mile for 2012.
We have mild days every
It's
year.
gonna be a bad winter. So, it's all that.
No, you can get that stuff
You
now.
know, just sharing. I don't know, the squirrel tail's getting a little thick this year.
They also said the winter of 2016 was going to be worse than the winter of 2015.
It's all a- Yes.
Okay. Let's, the geese. The lady who we saw picking up all the geese says, oh, you can get from Matt Audubon what's called geese off, electronic device that sends out a ultrasonic signal. And apparently it is very successful. It costs about $150. And they
It
won't
does
bother you
have-
again.
How big an area will it cover?
Don't know.
Yeah.
You can
Probably
afford to
eight-
get
eight of
two.
them.
You can afford to get 2 or 3 around there, and it would solve the problem because I mean,
Solar
that was
power.
What power?
that was beyond the Call of Duty, picking up a whole load of
Yeah.
stuff there. And,
Oh, she
it
was
was very good
fertilizer
civic.
guy.
Well, maybe, but it's
Better
good
run it,
effort. But as I said, you should get rid of the problem rather than
Yeah,
that's the solution
absolutely.
is. And they're invasive, and they're not indigenous.
That's a good question. I believe they're not.
But that's why
Because they're
ultrasonic
not
sound, we're not
migratory.
harming them or anything. We're
See,
just putting the things there.
I go through this with Tim
We're
anyway.
not shooting them.
These geese are all descended
So we know this.
from live decoys that the hunters used to use. And at the turn of the last century, the turn from 1800s to 1900s, somewhere in that time, the federal government ordered the hunters, they had to release their live decoys.
Right on
Shoot 'em.
website.
They had to release them.
She said, just
And these birds had been brought up here, they had no migratory instinct, and all these geese had
I'm happy to call them. I can take that call.
Make the recommendation, put it into the
And this is
recommendation.
the problem, they have no migratory
yeah,
instinct.
oh yeah, it is.
I call them
You
USA
talk to
geese.
somebody about.
Find out how they're powered.
Yeah. All right, I'll call
Battery.
Mass
I think that
Audubon
they should take
They are.
before our next meeting and just
Yeah,
find out how
migratory
much they
birds,
cost,
yeah, you
what
can't-
area,
can't-
how
these things are not
effective,
migratory.
and how hideous are whatever it is that
Do
shoots
they
They migrate from
sound.
Plum Island to the Green.
Okay.
That's their idea of
very
migration.
good.
It's something you gotta put on the ground and the kids are gonna play with them.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Trip all from.
Right.
Yeah, find out what the
Yeah,
actual
what's-
thing is.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, what powers it?
Batteries.
Batteries.
Batteries?
You might make solar with.
Also, yeah.
That would be it.
Ideally, if you put them on a pole, it's cool in the pond. And then face it out,
Yeah.
so that the geese are walking on the grass.
Because they're
Well,
always
did you
very
see them
close to
before?
the pond.
What's
Yeah.
that?
You've seen them before?
I've seen little ones, but,
Oh, yeah?
yeah, they run a 9-volt battery. But I've seen some of this stuff in some of the catalogs that I get, that it was out of ultrasonic, so you can see that the geese don't like it, just it interferes with their ability to hear different things around them. And we should be more cautious after these things.
They just go.
So I'll take that as a follow-up.
Okay,
So you can-
right.
They'll stay at the airport where they go home. They were all over the,
Oh, I know, I'm waiting for an accident there.
they were all over the,
Bird strikes, yeah.
Crash runway.
the Spence Pierce Little Farm, that section, the
Yeah,
end
right.
by the Audubon and all that, yeah. As opposed to the
Hey,
other side.
Okay,
All right.
that's that one. Fresh plantings around
what was that?
the plantings around the various memorials.
Oh, that's just a matter.
It is just tidying up, and that can be done by local,
Get some
Support
volunteers to do that
volunteers,
before
yeah.
the weekend, too.
Yeah.
That would be good, because they're having all those people down there for the festivities.
then we get to the ballpark, the baseball thing needs painting, I think it's boards and replacing. But again, that's not.
I'm surprised somebody from the Little League hasn't done this.
Well, they don't like that.
Right.
They're going back to the library.
So should we find out if the Boy Scouts can?
Paint that as well. Yep.
The other way of doing that is, Essex County Sheriff's Department.
Yeah.
They've done the town hall in Salisbury a number of times when they have gardens under in Salisbury. Different businesses would donate a gallon bucket of paint, and the guys would come in. The whole deal was you bought them pizza and soda for lunch, and these guys were thrilled to get out, be out painting and taking care of stuff. And it might just be something that's an easy way for the town to get all of that painted. And they're all on pre-release, it's not really.
Rather than match paint, right?
Why, you're gonna paint the whole thing?
Oh, they're painting the whole
We're not
thing.
gonna paint two
Top and
boards.
bottom.
right? I mean, the whole
It's gonna
thing
be the whole
is,
thing, yeah.
we're gonna refresh it, let's refresh it all, right?
Yep.
Sand that thing down.
Prime
repaint
that
it.
section.
Prime those the missing sections.
Put it in the recommendation.
Yep.
Yep. All we can do is recommend.
Yep.
Yep. And drainage. What did we decide about the aeration pool, the Volkswagen? Is it necessary? Is it?
Somebody said it wasn't
Yeah,
necessary.
the fellow who's cleaning up the pond
Yeah.
told me he didn't think it would do anything. Of course, maybe that's because of.
Does it need it? It's got a lot of wildlife in it. I mean, it
Yeah,
can't be, I saw all those things.
Frogs and fish in there that haven't been in there in previous years. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Just looks murky to me.
It just, yeah, it was my
But
comment.
then again,
It is.
I wouldn't get
But then
swimming.
again, it's like, was almost 7 o'clock when we were looking at it, so.
It's also a pond though, I mean, ponds are sort of murky.
Right.
This is not a problem.
Just like they used to use that.
Dipping
use
the
that-
toes.
Okay. Right. Did we discuss the historic designation this last time?
About,
If there are fundamental changes,
no, because these are
these are just
this is a
repairs.
restoration of the
Maintenance,
area.
basically.
Maintenance.
Not reshifting things, putting
Moving
in
things around.
Bronze
bronze
cow.
cows
Right.
and a fountain,
And a fountain.
and a spraying fountain in the pond.
There's a
So
walkway,
that
a
would-
paved
that
walkway all
And
around it.
bricks, well, Goshen's don't even, but,
Right, okay.
yeah, we don't
Good, we
wanna,
We
yeah.
don't open that.
We don't want to. I mean, if you, and if, especially folks who aren't used from here, like, because I'm not either, but, if you look on the Historical Commission's website, which is accessible to the town website, we have a website called 1635. At the bottom of it, you can see it, it's a different one. You can see pictures of what the green looked like in the 1800s. So, and some of them are scrolling across the town website now too. So, and when they had all the elms and everything, it was,
But they weren't just elms.
no, but, you know, we had the glorious trees and back, way in the background, you can see the trolley line.
That's right.
Yeah,
Right.
so-
No utilities.
yeah, so it looked stately and welcoming, but it was not, it still was not a formal, it's never really had pathways. So, as opposed to places like Ipswich or at least Essex, some of them had, they put gazebos and things up, and then always did on one of the ponds areas. They
Yeah.
put gazebo, because that was the Victorian thing to do at the time, and it was the 18.
Rowley
Yeah, Rowley has a
so-
little fence
but
there.
We never did in Newbury. Neither Green had gazebos on it, or if they did, it's not in any picture I've ever seen. We had schoolhouses on us. Because the Upper Green and the Lower Green had schoolhouses.
How do you know, yeah, green did too.
The Upper Green had, yes, it was over on the corner of the pictures, it looks to be towards the Muster area.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and then because it was district schools, we had 5 district schools.
I'm
And
betting
then-
that little road that goes through there did not go through there at that time.
Probably not,
Yeah.
And Tuck Lane.
Yeah, but then they got rid of it, they consolidated and put in like the Woodbridge. So they got rid of the district schools.
It's interesting history.
Okay.
But yeah, so this would be a refreshing, bringing back to life of the green, not
Right.
trying to change it.
No,
So it wouldn't-
you wouldn't have
it
to
wouldn't
refer
affect the-
anything or.
No.
Historic
And these are all the same things that we've said in our meetings, and the letters that we did as me being on the historical commission saying we. That was the whole thing. It's like, you need a modern park in a 1635 town. Want it to be the way it was.
Yeah, we just need to look after it
It
the
was
way it was.
opened up there and the pond was dug in, what, 1647 or something, 46 or somewhere there. So, it's like it works then, it will work.
One thing maybe worth discussing, obviously we've talked a lot about the grading and the issue of the drainage over by the ball field and the outfield. I know we talked about the drain, which they're going to be fixing.
Evidently,
So that's on their list apparently. But then, so I guess you mentioned gypsum and trying that. It seems like, and this is just a guess, that if we were actually to regrade, that would be just, that would blow through our budget, I would imagine. So for our recommendation, I assume that what we'll be doing, but curious what other people think, in addition to having DPW fix that grate, that we would try gypsum and put that down and hope that that solves the problem, just because totally regrading, I imagine that would be very
Think
crazy.
of how many hundreds of years that people with animals, automobiles, whatever, you know, have been born in every little sections. Does anybody remember what went on there in 1922 as far as that ball range here, whatever, our cars there, you know, that's done over 30 years.
They used to have, what, flea markets and everything on the
No,
time,
in the
everybody
fifties,
was-
they had, the
Carnivals?
fire company here had carnivals there every year, for quite a few years.
There's been a lot of stuff on that,
Yeah, so
squishing it down, the life out of it.
if you
really.
just keep patting something down long enough, it's not gonna matter, no matter what you say.
So if there were land drains there, they would be compacted down.
So try something that's cheap, see if it works. If it works, then you don't have to regrade, the grass comes back and everything is good.
So are they going to put in new land
No, I think it was just, like Fred had mentioned, that outlet
drains? Oh, right.
and that they're gonna fix.
Yeah.
But it seems to me, well, as you had, it's already been brought up, that if we got core samples of the areas, then you'd know better what the structure of the soil is.
How
What
compact,
is-
what it is, yeah, right.
Yeah, so, but, I mean, if it's loosened up, it's like anything else, it's like, it's gonna be able to absorb water and have movement, it's just, you know.
Drain better and stuff will grow.
It'll
out.
automatically do it if it can breathe.
Yeah.
It can't breathe, it's
Well,
like suffocating.
Even something as simple as, okay, you cut the grass and the clippings go down to the ground is hard packed, then that, it doesn't get any of that clippings to go down into the soil and build it up, and, you know.
That's why people aerate.
Yeah. Well, I've always said that if you, what really made organic farm fertilizers catch on was that people realized that you have a lousy soil. And if I put the organic fertilizer down, it loses the nutrients, and the organic matter works its way back into the soil. So over a period of years, just using the organic fertilizer helps to rejuvenate that soil from the organic matter that's there.
And the liming helps the
Yes.
fertilizer work too, right? And it gets rid of the, well, kind of neutralizes the acid rain that's all over.
Exactly, I mean, just, anytime you get trees growing, whether they're deciduous trees and needle trees, how they cool themselves is they evaporate water on through the needles or leaves, and then what's left behind is a residue on the leaves or the needles that falls to the ground when it rains, and that acidifies the soil to make it eons ago easier for the trees to grow. Well, it doesn't do much for grass, it just makes it harder for grass to grow. That's why most people have a really difficult time getting grass to grow on the trees. That would be the shade, because that acidity drops down, and it makes it so difficult to do. So, liming is just, you know, it's the type of thing that can be done around the schools.
town doesn't do any kind of maintenance like that on any of that town property now?
Not
That
that
you
I
know
know
of?
of. You have to talk to James about it.
Yeah.
The last time I talked to him about it, it wasn't per se in the budget because it came down to, okay, whose responsibility is it to, put lime or fertilizer or whatever on the grass and bring to the ground.
They must do something at the playing fields up on Central Street.
Oh, I bet.
Wouldn't you think?
Well, yeah, but that's, we have a committee for that,
I
a
bet.
different committee.
Yeah,
that's-
recreation.
The rec committee.
That's what makes the money.
And they make money, and then so
Yeah,
if they
right.
make the money, they get the work done, yeah.
But the town mows it. Oh, yeah, they do.
I think the
Oh, let me
issue,
tell you, they've been mowing the greens here twice a week.
Yeah.
Twice a week.
I think the issue here is it gets harsh in floods, doesn't it? Isn't that the issue?
Yeah.
Right. Now, would proper soil management start to alleviate that?
It should, as the rain comes down and the flooding that hits there is because the water's got no place to go.
Right.
So if it,
Just forms.
even if it forms water for one day and then the water goes down into the soil, because the soil has better porosity, then that takes care of that
Takes
problem.
care, right.
for-
So we can solve the problem by proper soil management.
Or at least maybe solve a good deal of it, it may not be
So I think
perfect,
that
but
was one of the
then
big criticisms.
it wasn't,
It was just a general
No.
comment.
it was never made to be a Little League field, it was
No.
a pickup field, and that's all it's ever been. And Little League is trying to,
Make it into,
make it
like a baseball park.
to their specs. But changing the whole baseball field is, it's been there for 200 years, it's legal law.
It's
And then gypsum, if I have this right, it would be, you mentioned once a year for, you just sort of do it each year and just see how it goes and make a
At some point in
determination.
time, you're
Yeah.
gonna notice right off that, gee, we always had a big issue with water ponding right here.
Yeah, you'd
Now
notice if it
doesn't
was
happen
getting
anymore.
better or not, yeah.
And then you might stop for 5 years, and then it's,
Yeah, no, that makes sense,
people
yeah.
walking on it,
Yeah.
start to come back again, and then you get one
But in
time.
conjunction with like aerating, you sort of do several of these things together.
Not as much, no.
So it's just a case of, it's the initial outlay of doing it every year for a few years to see what happens.
You said it's relatively cheap, so.
Yeah, I mean,
Did you make a comment earlier that insinuated might harm the grass? Would the,
no,
would it?
there's nothing between
Okay.
the two things that, lime and gypsum don't fight, so to speak, so it's not going to be.
Okay, so putting it down, no issue with grass, okay.
Yeah, no, in fact, I had mentioned to you before we really got into this whole discussion, one day, I read an article before that said you should put gypsum like around your bushes and stuff, where the plows are picking all the salt and everything, and if your bushes are starting to die off on the perimeter of your property where the roads are, because that's what it is. And they recommended you getting gypsum to mix in the soil there, and then he was talking, I'm like, I've read this before, because, and it's been recommended just for that reason, so obviously your lawn is right there. I mean,
Yeah, it would be
especially if
fine
you're
for
in a different area than maybe we are here, where I'm on the island, so it's not that many lawns, but,
Okay, great. Sounds like a great idea.
It breaks it, protects it from the salt, and neutralizes it, I guess.
Well, people will have, I know, people have raised beds out on the island, and ocean water will come in, so I'm like, do we fix this? And just throw some gypsum down, once the water recedes, throw the gypsum down, area the vegetable ground is gonna go, or whatever, and it releases the grip of the salt particles on the roots of the plant, it just releases that, and so the salt just comes down to the soil.
Double benefit.
Early in the season, on those areas that are adjacent to the streets, that might be a kind of thing, each year. And we do a wide strip around on all sides of the streets out there. The salt's going to be deposited, it's not salt anymore, it's the same way, it just attaches to the roots of whatever. And then that salt type of substance is taken up into the plant, and the plant tries to water it down. salt's getting in there, and it's being pulled up in there, and so when it's trying to water it down, it pulls the water, where you see the line way up. The water has to pull from where you doesn't make up that. Like I said, it's, when I got driving some of these sell a lot of it, once people realized what it did do, they saw the results. It didn't work. So, it's an expensive fix to try.
And it's a natural credit too, isn't it?
Yes.
Slimy and just all natural.
Yeah, mine was just last time.
Okay, so any more before we sort of wrap up all this? Get on to the hearing.
Yeah, now how about we can do about the hearing? We got a
Yeah.
question now.
Well, we only have a question of the time,
Yeah,
not about whether we're having one.
well, it's
We
you,
have got to have.
we have no money.
Right.
How do we advertise
Well,
for a
then,
real hearing?
No, I think it's a simple case of it's not gonna be a hearing, it's gonna be an information.
and then if that's the
Get
case, then
together.
Yeah.
But we gotta get
Notify.
verification of that.
Well, I'll find out, I should find out tomorrow, because they had a meeting tonight, so they were all gonna be there, so. And Damon said that he was gonna double check for me also, I mean, I left it, what, that's four, 'cause
But I think,
But
can you not?
we still have to notify the public that we're having this,
Right.
but it's different than putting a legal notice in the newspaper.
Yeah, something
So
to put on the
it'll be a notification like this. So-
Basically, yeah, and then we'll send the information to Jen, and the report Daily News does our
Right.
article things. And so if, we want to just have like, have something written up with basic information that we've got some ideas and what we want to do to help. And we want your input, or you're interested in sharing them and whatever.
I think we've got to try and steer where we're thinking like renewing and replacing.
Right,
And-
yeah.
And just sort of give, and I'm not sure about costings of anything, because that's really,
Yeah.
the general public are not really
Yeah.
into that level. But this is, we're,
And at some
we've got to
point,
present,
you
no,
know,
we're not, but we've got to present an idea which they buy into in a way, and then give their feedback.
Right.
So, and this is the ideas, which is, as you said earlier on, it's sort of renewing and making it look nice. Nothing major in terms of changing things around.
Right.
I think we should get one of those in before town meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you wanna get it as soon as possible.
Like, first week of October, just put in the newspaper that there's gonna be a meeting of the Upper Green Committee to take your questions and see if we can answer.
We still have
Well, is
that
it
2
possible
week.
to do second, I'm starting a new job first week in October, so I imagine I'll be working really late those things, so it's okay.
Well, we do it on a Saturday.
Oh, that would be great.
We still have
Weekend
the-
would be
Yeah,
ideal.
that'd be
Right down here.
14
right
days.
here.
It'll
Yeah,
be
that would
better
be
on a
perfect.
Saturday, yeah.
Yeah, to get more people.
Daytime
coming.
meeting, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Still do it on the
I'm not
Sunday.
sure.
Because this is not the
No.
full public thing, it's sort of
Yeah, but I mean, we want to give people
notice.
notice, so.
Well, it's the 10th
And it
today.
will go, it'll easily go on the town website. Susan will put it up for us, and
It would be,
News
I can
section.
put it on our page, let's do that. And Upper Green Activity, whatever, advisory committee, we can put it up in the library, like I said, send out it to Maggie, to the Council on Aging.
Well, this is the Upper Green, so you better put a notice in the report of the library. So, because, you know, where we use the library here. Most people in this section of town use the
Oh, right.
much closer. Well, it is.
Oh,
It just have to be
drive all
factual.
the way to Byfield.
Have to be factual about, well, it is, it's the way it is.
There's probably about 1 million more volumes.
Herb, I thought it was flat, no?
but I mean, that's just factual, so.
No.
So are we going to have I think we should have a meeting before so that we can get our presentation.
Right,
I'm all
well,
for
we
it.
can get the notice in the
And then
paper,
notice.
get the notice out, and then we can prep our
Prep our, so,
presentation before we have it,
right, which we need to do that.
right? I mean, I don't think we really need to prep too much, but if
No.
Tim has some tree
Tree.
ideas for us, then we can get maybe some, pictures.
Right, then.
Can you get that within a week or two?
Yep.
And they keep posters.
Some big posters.
Get my finger paint, so.
We can have them, right, we can
For the
staple them
boards, yeah.
right here to the 2x4s, so
Yep.
that it'll look like they're growing.
Yeah. Right. So,
Yeah,
So,
Just
Okay.
figure out the dates.
dates.
yeah.
Or do we have to make a motion to have another meeting?
Most difficult man to get fit in.
We do need to do a motion. Shall we get some dates? But effectively 2 months for us to
Yeah,
get all our material.
that should be within.
A week before we have
But if
the
it's going to be
hearing.
a public hearing, then it has to be published 2 weeks.
That's right.
Before the actual meeting, so that's where the difference comes in.
Yeah.
big time, and I will send a response to all of you.
Individually, yeah.
Well, I just send them to all of you, this is the answer. There is no discussion to be had via email. This is an informational.
Meeting.
BOS said that what they meant was, it should be a forum, not a
Yeah.
legal
Here.
public hearing, and then we'll all know. So,
Receiving
so
that.
if we're gonna just assume that at this
We're
point,
gonna, well, I
which
think
I
we should
think we
assume.
can.
Yeah.
I think we can too.
I'm sure you'll help steer them in that.
They will have to pay for it. We can't pay for it. We have no budget. We're an advisory committee. So,
That's the way we work.
Okay.
when is the time? I should know this.
November 12th.
October,
No, November 12th, no.
November 12th.
That's what I said, they're trying to make it.
November 12th?
Yeah.
Thank you, Susan.
Right. So,
Tuesday.
So the police station, that's will be by the second of October.
So before November 12th,
this is the hearing.
correct.
Sorry.
The forum, that's a good word.
Discussion.
If it's weekend, I'm flexible.
That's how they did it down here when they had the police station forums. They did it on Saturdays.
Yeah.
They had 2 of them down
And then we had, before that, we had little Saturday coffee things.
Saturday is probably better as for people than Sunday.
That's
Oh,
me.
definitely.
Sorry,
Definitely
yeah.
Saturday.
Saturday?
Saturday
Yeah,
morning, 10 o'clock.
good. When are we talking? That's
Yeah, that's good.
October.
10 a.m.?
10 a.m.
Oh, we didn't pick
This is
it.
the date.
There you go.
We're doing the hard part first.
Bob.
Yeah. Saturday, okay. Now here's the Friday.
And it has to be before the November 12th.
Well before.
Well,
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
Sort of
Sooner
like
the sooner the better.
the,
Say,
Yeah.
first week of
Late
October.
October would be
Well,
better.
we have, when's that?
26th.
Early.
Yeah, right, earlier.
26th.
What about October? You're in, oh, good.
October.
We have to figure out when our next meeting is, or is that our next meeting?
Yeah, well, we have to find out
No.
when people can make
Yeah.
that.
Which is, yeah.
Make the date for the Saturday and then we'll meet
Back.
like the Wednesday or Tuesday prior to that Saturday.
Yep. So 26 is good. 27.
12th is the Saturday of Columbus Day weekend. Just saying.
I mean, it doesn't matter to me. but-
Foliage will be nice.
Hmm?
The foliage will be nice.
Not here.
Oh,
In
That's-
in here? Oh, you mean the ones we're gonna put up on the wall?
That's the
That's probably fine.
What about the 5th?
Yeah.
Fifth.
Yeah, what about the 5th?
October 5th. Anything going on for anybody that day?
It worked for me. The only thing,
Pick up something.
On the 5th?
Yeah.
What time's the flight come in?
Arrives.
oh, well, I was just gonna say, I mean, it sounds like it might be a moot point.
7:50.
We probably
Oh.
don't need that much time to prepare.
Kind of
That's just
more-
very
that's
soon.
plenty of time.
Something came up or something delayed
Not that
or.
I'm trying
you got
to
to
fix
finish
your
your
schedule
meetings or
for you.
whatever.
All relax.
I thought it was
I
Lovely
can-
meeting.
I can do the
Time
fifth.
Yeah.
No.
Do we think the
Yeah.
5th might be a little early, like, would that jam us if, like, you know, you got delayed on the trees or like something, or like if you guys
It's
wanted
3
to
weeks away.
prepare?
3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, I think we should set it for the 5th. If
It's
it doesn't work
only
out, we'll have to
for
back off.
discussion.
So
And
here's my
remember,
question, then when are we having our next meeting?
Right,
before
between now and then.
the,
Yeah.
So October
And you-
1st.
yes,
What,
October
Tuesday?
1st, Tuesday.
Yeah, we might want to give ourselves some more time than that, because like coming out of it, we might say like, oh, we want to prepare XYZ thing and
I
like
mean,
a
we're gonna have a
few
meeting
days
on a
to.
Tuesday and then have the
Everything for
public
the-
forum on
third. Yeah,
on
that's
4
a
days
bit-
later.
That seems too tight.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
think.
what if we're trying to prep some material?
Yeah, I
All right,
Yeah,
well,
right.
That's the
what's the
only
week
thing I'm
before
saying.
September? The
I mean,
last
I
week
think
of
the 12th
September?
gives us a little bit more breathing room.
28,
26th.
24.
That's,
But it is a holiday weekend.
You have your historic commission
We can do
meeting
the
the
19th,
Thursday.
Or the
right?
19th.
Second Thursday, right?
still
Second,
well in
fourth.
advance of the town
Just the
meeting.
second.
Yeah.
19th.
And we're not gonna be getting anything done this
Once a
fall
month.
anyway, it sounds like,
Well,
so,
it sounds like they're gonna get something done.
yeah,
Tim's
but
gonna
we're
get
not,
something
but
done.
we're not delaying him. They're in a
That's a big
totally,
deal.
right, but they're in a totally different time frame. Our time frame doesn't impact Tim's at all.
12th's good for me.
So what are we doing now?
5th's too soon, we'll move to 12th.
12th or 19th? Oh, your boss, okay, 12th.
Okay, so October 12th.
And then you still have the 1st for the.
I wonder if we should try to do end of, I mean, I'd suggest trying to meet again
End of this month.
end of this month. Just give ourselves a little bit
Well,
more.
there's only 2
breathing room.
more weeks in the end of this month.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, 2 weeks
If
from
we
now.
do it on the 1st, it's,
well, that's
Three.
the 30th is the Monday, the 1st is.
Okay,
Tuesday.
1st is fine.
Yeah, the only thing,
It's
that's my first week of
That's
a
3
new
weeks.
job, so for me, that week is really tough. I mean, what if we did the week of the 23rd? Do you think that that would be too soon for the varieties? I don't know if you want to look at a calendar. Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
2 weeks.
2, yeah.
Yeah, that might be a little tough, because I got cataract surgery coming up again. That time I'm going to be other eyes. Fine to see again.
And you think this will be a problem?
Only though
You
you're
can't
a
see the
pirate
picture.
cat.
I do think the only week that would be tough would literally the 30th through the 4th, those 5 days, I think are
It's
going to
tough.
be really challenging for me.
so I'm gonna go the next week.
The 8th, and then, and make the, push the thing.
The forum, back to the 12th. So that's Columbus Day weekend.
Yeah.
Already know.
So it's back to the 26th.
26th?
26th is good.
12 and 7.
No, we can't do the 19th, right?
No, 26th is good for me. And then,
Halloween? Yeah. So it'll be fresh, because, you know, things sink down with the new conspiracy theories all the time.
26th. And then you can have the.
Okay,
The
so.
week of the
The
7th?
8th, was it for the first?
Okay, somebody can make a motion.
Right, now we're all to make a motion for the next committee meeting. Is the next committee meeting, I'll make a motion for the next committee meeting
You can't make a motion.
I can't make a motion.
Okay. I'm happy to make a motion.
It's the 8th of
September 8th,
No,
October.
October 8th.
So I'll make a motion that on October 8th, we have our next committee meeting beginning here at 7 p.m. And then we have the forum to be confirmed, hopefully tomorrow, that it will be a forum. That will be Saturday, October 26th at 10 a.m.
Second.
All in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Wait a minute. Saturday, October what?
26.
26th.
Does that work for you?
Aye or nay?
Oh, yay.
Oh, right, thank you.
Sorry.
Motion carried.
Yep.
Any other business?
I think they were covered.
Any other business?
Will we adjourn?
Okay.
That's your motion?
Motion.
Will we adjourn?
Second that.
Okay. In favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Is it?
Very
Sorry, I
good.
didn't hear who made that.
I'm gonna
I
make
made
that
the
meeting.
motion.
Yeah.
The planning board selectmen's meeting down at the town hall.
They're here,
Right.
right? Both of those.
Oh,
There is the forum.
It's, yeah, it's.
It's already ended.
Has it? How do you know?
Refreshments.
They called you?
Refreshments.
she's got
Yeah, I
connections.
got connections.
She's got
It
the-
was supposed to be.
Literally, connection.
Well,